Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we have another Apple TV new series that came out today called BlackBird, starring Taron Egerton and Ray Liotta, and plenty of other recognizable faces. For this video, it'll be a spoiler-free review on the first two episodes, and if you guys enjoy this, maybe we'll do a breakdown and recap for every single episode, because I think there's a really cool series that could be fun to sort of recap and talk about. So if you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to like it. Please subscribe if you're new. But let's talk about the first two episodes of BlackBird. So like I said, for this video, for now, this will be spoiler-free. I'm just going to tell you guys what I think about the two episodes, if I think it's worth checking out for you. And so I have to say that right away, the cinematography is really good. A lot of these Apple TV shows, the cinematography is very clean, the show looks very nice, and this show is no different. It looks really good, the score is really good. I would say performances are actually really good so far. Ray Liotta, rest in peace. One of my favorite actors in terms of like Goodfellas, Field of Dreams. Just want to commend him. I never really came on here and said rest in peace to him. So it's nice seeing him in this show after he's passed. Sort of reminds you about how much we sort of miss that actor, right? But he does a really good job here. He plays the father of Taron Egerton. Taron Egerton plays his drug dealer. And so the story for this show is that he's a drug dealer that gets caught. He goes to jail. But now he has sort of an opportunity to get this deal. And the deal is that he's able to get his freedom if he goes to a different prison and sort of gets close to the serial killer. And if the serial killer is able to tell him where the body of one of his 14 girls are, then Taron Egerton gets his freedom. So a pretty interesting story, and the best part is that it's actually based on a true story, which makes it even more interesting. So the first episode sets up the story pretty quickly. We get introduced to his character, like what his personality is, like a very cocky sort of macho man type of womanizer sort of character. He gets caught, and we quickly get into like the decision making that he has to make now. It's either he spends some years in jail or he takes this deal where he has to go to this crazy prison with a bunch of lunatics and befriend the serial killer to get information from him, and then he gets his freedom. So while this is going on, we actually go back to 4 years prior from these events, where we get a first look into the beginning of this investigation for the serial killer. This is where we follow another actor who plays the main cop in this investigation. And this is pretty interesting because the serial killer is very weird. You guys may recognize him from Cobra Kai. He plays this sort of like lunatic, crazy guy who has dreams of killing little girls. And so, I'm a huge fan of like serial killer vibes. I know documentaries on serial killers are like super popular. And so diving deep into like the minds of this serial killer, like this weirdo, is pretty interesting. And we don't really have all the details right now. I haven't looked into the real story. So there also raises questions of like, is this serial killer like actually the real killer? Like, did he actually do it, or is there something else here? So we go back and forth between those a lot in the first episode. I will say that the second half of this first episode is a little bit slower pace than the first half. The first half just seemed like a little more entertaining, like in your face, with this focusing on Taron Egerton, who's a very flamboyant type of character. The second half, when we focus on the investigation, does slow down a bit, creates a different vibe. But I think they balance each other out pretty well. And I say the first episode was a really great start. So my rating for the first episode was like a 4.1 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. Right off the bat in the first half, I was like, this is going to be something that I want to recommend to a lot of people. I think it's a really cool drama series. And like I said, the fact that it's based on a true story really piques my interest. So now, in the second episode, we focus a lot on the serial killer and that investigation part, which I enjoy a lot. But I have to say, I did enjoy Taron Egerton's character a lot in that first episode. I did want to see a little bit more of him in that second episode, but I'm sure, he's the main star of this show. We're going to be seeing a lot of him, so that's not really a negative. I also sort of realized like how sort of fun this storyline could be, because it does feel like a little bit like a video game storyline. Like Taron Egerton has to go into this like other prison where he can't mess up now. Like, if he's going to be in this prison with a bunch of crazy people, he's known to have a temper. Like, if he messes up or gets to a fight and they extend his prison sentence, then the whole mission is like failed, like his whole sentence will be fucked. He might have to stay there. So sort of fun, like the idea of like this guy has to be super careful in this prison while also having to try and get close to this guy so we can infiltrate him and get this information. Like, it seemed like a fun like video game presence. There is this sort of like flirtatious relationship with this cop. The cop that is like the main person that's controlling his case. She is sort of like flirtatious in a way with him. Like I said, he is a very womanizer sort of character. So to see them sort of going back and forth, like, will this blossom into something that's real, or like something happens which may jeopardize his case? Like, I thought that was a pretty fun but interesting relationship as well. And the last thing I'll say about the second episode is that I think the second half of that episode slowed down a lot as well. But it was still like super interesting. I think at the very end of that second episode, it gives us a clear idea of what's going to be the main premise throughout the rest of this series now. Like the first episode seemed like a lot of setup. I like that they put those out first because now we can actually get into like the raw story of watching Taron Egerton try to infiltrate the serial killer to get information out of him. And I think that's obviously going to be like the juice of the story. So second episode I don't think was as good as the first. I still think it was a really good episode. I give it like a 3.7 out of 5. So if we round those two numbers together, take the average, it comes out to like a 3.9 out of 5. And I think that's where the show is at right now. I do think it'll probably increase as we go through more of the episodes. So overall, I highly recommend this new drama series. If you're into serial killers, like that whole type of vibe, I'm sure you're gonna love this. If you've seen it already, let me know down below what you think of it. If you haven't seen it already, like I said, go and watch it, then come back, let me know what you think. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys. So until next week, thank you guys for watching. Please like this video, please subscribe if you're new, and have a great rest of the day.